Hello guys, it's Dale here, and in this video I'd like to talk about volume profile. Volume profile is an analytical tool that I've been using on a daily basis for many years. It is not my invention or anything new. Pro traders have been using it for decades, but still 90 or 95% of retail traders don't have a clue what it is or how to use it. So what is volume profile good for? Did you know that the majority of all market transactions, moves and volumes are created by just few single financial institutions? To give you some rough idea, look at these statistics. 70% of all forex volumes are created by these 10 financial institutions. They move and manipulate the market, and that is a fact. So, in order to survive and to be profitable, you absolutely need to know what they are up to. If you don't know that, you are basically trading blind and you will lose. So we as retail traders need to adapt. We need to track the institutions that move the market. We need to figure out where their positions most likely are and where their interest lies. And then we need to use that knowledge in our advantage in our trading strategy. So how do we track the institutions? We track them through volumes because they will never be able to hide those. We will always be able to see their volumes if we use the volume profile. Now, volume profile is a very simple visualization that shows volume at price, and it's basically a histogram. This histogram shows how the volumes are distributed in a given area. The key here is to look for heavy volumes at significant places because those volumes indicate activity of the institutions. That is basically how we can track them. Even though the volume profile is a professional tool, learning to work with it is pretty easy. It's actually quite intuitive. You just select particular price action zone in which you are interested in, and after that you view how the volumes were distributed in that particular area. A volume profile is a simple and effective tool to help you track the volumes and therefore the activity of big institutions that move the market. I'm sure that if you weren't using volume profile and if you will implement it in your trading, it will be a real game changer for you. You will see another dimension and you will see things you would never see without it. I was searching for an ideal volume profile indicator that would suit me best, and I ended up with TradingView. I was using their volume profile for a long time, but it just didn't have all the features that I needed. For that reason, I decided to look for somebody to create a custom volume profile for me that would have all the features that I required. I was very lucky because I was introduced to a developer that has been making custom indicators for hedge funds in the United States for 20 years. So he is probably one of the most qualified people in the world for this job. So it was him who created this custom volume profile that you see on your screen now, and he was also able to implement all the features that I needed. So let me show you now the most important features of the new custom volume profile that he made for us. The first thing that you'll probably notice is that it's a flexible profile, which means that you aren't forced to use the standard daily profiles, but you can view the volumes in any particular area that you are interested in. I don't really think that many people understand how important that is. So let me show you an example how the flexible profile can be used. So let's say that I want to have a look at this particular price action area because there is a strong selling activity there. And I want to see where the heaviest volumes got accumulated before this selling activity started. If you have a look at this area, you see that the heaviest volumes before the sell-off were accumulated right there. This is the place. And by the way, you can see that there was a pretty nice reaction to that area. However, if you were using the standard daily profiles, the profile for that day would look like this. And in this case, you wouldn't really see that level. You see that there is basically nothing on the daily profile for that particular area, so you would basically have no trade there. But if you use the flexible profile just for this area, you can pretty nicely spot that level. Another great thing about this profile is that it's really fast. There are a lot of calculations as the profile is being drawn in real time. For that reason, quite a lot of other profiles around are really slow, and you definitely can't move them around and do things as quickly and smoothly as we can with this one. It may not seem that important, but imagine working with a laggy profile that slows your work, and instead of analyzing markets or creating levels, you are waiting for the profile to load all the time. That was, for example, the case of flexible profile that the TradingView had. It was almost impossible for me to work with it because it was very laggy and very slow. Another great thing about this profile is that it's really intuitive and very easy to use. You just create a rectangle, press this button, and you are all set to go. You can also have as many profiles as you want. You can also use it for any trading instrument you want. It can be futures, forex or stocks, and you can also use any time frame you want. For example, I use 30-minute time frame for my intraday analysis and daily time frame for long-term swing analysis. Before you can see a daily chart of euro-dollar, and in this case I use the volume profile in the same way as I did on the 30-minute chart a moment ago. You can see that I can move it around very quickly and that it's very precise. I can also use as many profiles as I want, and I can also use accumulative profile for larger areas. Even though it's really fast and easy to use, it is also extremely accurate. It uses tick volume data, which is the most precise data that you can get. For that reason, this volume profile runs on NinjaTrader software, because NinjaTrader works with tick volume data, whereas the standard MetaTrader only uses 1 minute data, which makes a huge difference. Let me show you an example. Right there you can see a daily profile which was created on NinjaTrader with tick volume data, and this picture there is a daily profile that was created with 1 minute data on MetaTrader. If you look, it's the same day, and if you compare those two profiles, you can see that there is a massive difference. This is the MetaTrader profile based on 1 minute data, and this is the NinjaTrader profile based on tick volume data. With the tick volume data that the NinjaTrader provides and that my volume profile is based on, you will see details that you would never see with simple MetaTrader data, and those details make a huge difference. I, for example, do my analysis in NinjaTrader, which is free by the way, and after that I execute the actual trades with my broker, which is IC Markets. So you don't need to switch broker or pay for NinjaTrader. You only need to do your analysis in NinjaTrader software, and then you just trade with your broker as you are used to. Alright guys, so that was my brief introduction to the new profile. If I can give you any advice, go for it and learn to trade with the profile. It will really pay off. You don't need anything else to be profitable, just simple price action and good volume profile, that's it. So, I hope you liked the video and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. Until then, happy trading!